All right, so I get asked a lot about AI for a variety of different things, but let's stick on the healthcare portion first. Um, the the thing with AI is where most people are using AI. Let's go with this. Is like a glorified search engine, and so they'll go and they'll ask a question and they'll give us the information. The problem we have with that is that AI doesn't know anything. AI is, in this instance, a glorified search engine, and so what it'll do is it goes out and it searches specific sites first. Like, so for instance, in healthcare, it'll search the NIH, the CDC, the FDA, Mayo. It'll search all the pharmaceutical companies, press releases, and things like that. Then it'll go through whatever else, and then it gives you your answer. The problem with that is that most of the healthcare information that we have out is wrong. It's either wrong or it's a lie. So, for instance, if you ask it, and I've done this, is there any credible evidence that childhood vaccines cause any problems at all? Is there any scientific? And it says no. This is there's no scientific evidence that shows vaccines are harmful at all. This is rigorous, extreme testing has been done, and all vaccines are completely safe, which is not accurate at all. If you ask it, is cholesterol levels in the blood directly related to heart attack, strokes, and plaquing? And it says yes. It says cholesterol levels in the blood are directly related to heart attack, strokes, and plaquing, which is also not accurate. There's a lot of things that AI is going to get wrong because the information it's drawing from is inaccurate. The problem is that my opinion, is that you can't trust the CDC, the FDA, the NIH, because everything they told us is a lie for the past 40, 50 years. Everything. Remember, they're food and drug. So look at all the toxic chemicals in our food. Look at all the toxic chemicals in our air and water. Look how many, they said that you couldn't get addicted to opioids for 20 years. They're, past like 5, 7, 10 years, they finally came out and were like, okay, you got us. Opium's still addictive. So there's a lot of things that when you ask AI, hey, is this thing okay? Or is this the best path? Or how should I do X, Y, Z? It's going to give you the wrong answers. And the problem we're going to get into with everything AI is if we assume that it is artificial intelligence, that it is actually intelligent, that it does actually know things we don't know. I have not seen any evidence in any of the stuff I've read, any of the stuff I've looked at, that AI knows things or can think things through. I think what it does is it takes a whole bunch of information and says, look, 90 people said this, 10 people said this, we're going to exclude the 10, we're just going to say this is what it is. That's what it seems to be doing in healthcare and some other areas. Now, I will tell you that AI is going to, you can use whatever term you like. The term I typically use for AI when it's doing with life is going to be destroy the life that we know. Because when you change things really quickly, it looks more like destruction than it does like alteration. We have a good chance in the next 5, 7 years that the vast majority of the human beings will no longer have jobs. As you guys might have been seeing, we can now, with 4 or 5 different sentences, maybe a paragraph, we can make, 2-minute, 2-3 minute movies with big name actors and the whole deal. So it's not going to take us very long before, if you want to see a new episode every night of your favorite movie or TV show or whatever, AI can just make it, which is going to decimate all the people involved in making movies. The visual effects, the sound guys, the actors, the promoters, they no longer have any need. It's writing its own code. And so we're seeing giant amounts of people being laid off in the tech sector. Microsoft's laid people off. This is one of the reasons people are using companies are using H-1B visas. An H-1B visa, if you get rid of 1,000 of those guys, you don't show 1,000 terminations. You don't show that you laid off 1,000 people. You just canceled 1,000 contracts and it never shows up in the unemployment data. So lots and lots and lots of things are going to get changed. The problem we're running into specifically in healthcare is that if we believe what the AI is telling us, we're going to get more of the same failed responses. medical science, for the past 40, 50 years, has had nothing but wrong answers for people. If you look at how our health has been over the past, say, 50 years, in easy round numbers, we've been getting significantly worse every single year, and we continue down the same path. And so, at some point, you have to recognize that it is deliberate and it is on purpose. It is designed this way by whoever's in charge of the CDC, NIH, and FDA. So my assumption is that the same people who are running Epstein's group is running that group, and the same people who are deciding that they are species-wise better than everybody else is running everything else. And so I would be very, very cautious with any AI path, protocol, or idea as far as healthcare goes. So when you look stuff up using AI, I would be very, very cautious with the answers it gives you. It's always funny because I make fun. The joke I always tell people is AI is going to take everybody's job in the next year or two except for mine, because all of the data in which AI is pulling its information is wrong. So actual healthcare, natural healthcare, physiological healthcare, we're still A-okay. But the problem we get into is that as everybody starts thinking that AI can do all the things and knows all the things, and I just ask AI and AI will tell me and I'll be fine, it's not applying to healthcare. So ask your questions at AI, see what it tells you, and then send in those same questions here, and I'll show you the physiology behind it. We've known for a long time that the amount of cholesterol in your blood has no bearing on cardiovascular health. You can have, cholesterol within the range and plaque out and have a heart attack and die. I see that all the time on CT angiograms. We can see people who have had very high cholesterol their entire life has zero plaquing in their arteries, because you have to damage the cholesterol and damage the blood vessel for them to go sideways physiologically, so you become pathophysiological, the pathology, and then they stick together. It's not the amount, it's what happens to it. And we know that, but AI says no. We've seen with the Ford study that children who are vaccinated are significantly less healthy than those who've been vaccinated. People who have unvaccinated are way healthier than those who've been vaccinated. The Ford study showed it in every aspect. Neurologic issues are, every way that you can measure a neurologic issue, not just autism and ADD and ADHD, depression and anxiety, schizophrenia and psychosis. Every single way we chart and classify psychological damage, vaccinated children are way worse. Gut issues, pretty much all the gut issues we know of are way, way worse in vaccinated children. So respiratory issues, so asthma, allergies, respiratory dysfunction, sleep apnea, all of those things are way worse in vaccinated children than in non-vaccinated. That's just some of the stuff. Metabolic function is way skewed. So I would be very, very cautious when you're looking at using AI. Make your movies, I love AI because I'll put like 2 pages of text down and be like, make this readable, and it'll make the words smaller. Because I was always like, I need this so that a high schooler can read it, and so the words get smaller, and that puts commas in for me and formats things better. I love using it for that. But I would, like I said, I'd be very, very cautious with letting it dictate your health outcomes and your health structures. I've seen and I've asked for dosage recommendations, and they're always way bad. So I would be very, very cautious using any AI to dictate your health. Things that come specifically from books that are right, law is probably the best example, because whether a law is just, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, whether we should, abandon it, whatever, it's a law that we wrote down. And so things that we've written down, AI works amazing at. So, I know people who've used AI to argue court cases, and they won, and the other team had a bunch of lawyers and stuff like that, but the guy with ChatGPT won because everything written down, Chat was able to pull up. As long as the information that Chat is pulling from is accurate, or AI is accurate, you're going to do just fine. But you have to the assumption you're making when you're asking AI a question is that all of the information that AI is pulling from is 100% accurate. So keep that in mind whenever you're asking the AI questions about health or about anything else, is that it is basically what it is doing, keep this in your head, is that it's going out and asking the most common places we ask this question, the question. So in healthcare, it's going to go to the CDC, the NIH, the FDA, Merck, Pfizer, all of those guys who are paying for and doing the research and making the statements of this is how we're going to do things. So if you don't trust the government, and if you don't trust pharmaceutical companies, and you don't trust insurance companies, then I wouldn't trust AI at all for any of the questions you ask it from a healthcare standpoint. So I realize that it's, take into account where it's coming from, the information is coming from. But keep that in mind when everything you're doing with AI is where's the data coming from that is giving you the conclusion on. But that's kind of what we see with healthcare. The vast majority of the things that AI tells you is wrong. So take that for what it's worth. Have a fantastic day. Thanks for your time.